make her vanish, and that's something very interesting as a starting point. And furthermore, the closer she gets to being very thin and fits his aesthetic ideal, the more her head, her way of thinking changes. You can have the body and not the head and not the body. So it's not so much that he changes, but she changes. Her way of thinking changes because her weight changes. In the film, it's not so important to see the change in Vitaliano, but the important thing is the change in Sonia Michela. Because she changes. I mean, the only way that she can be normal, he wants stability, he wants a stable relationship, but he'll never be able to have one. Because when a woman loses so much weight, her head, her way of thinking changes as well. The key topic of the film is being able to have the body and not the way of thinking, or vice versa, and we tried to put this idea across.
Question in the back, please. Ja, ich muss auf Deutsch stellen.
In German, a question for the main male character. Michaela had to lose 15 kilos to act this role. How much of yourself did you have to lose in order to act this part? Was that a question for me? I lost 3 kilos as well, actually. Well, yes, in fact, we nearly all lost weight. Matteo did as well. He lost 5 or 6 kilos too. Because the work was pretty intense. No, I meant really in psychological terms more than anything else. Was this character something that really affected you? Did you have to change yourself to act this part? And you're also involved in the screenplay, so one might imagine that this figure was a bit closer to you because you also co-wrote the character. Yes.
È anche vero che anche proprio per il modo di lavorare.
But it's true as well because of the way in which we worked and developed the screinplay. We put the screenplay together and then we deconstructed it when we were working on the set. I mean, in essence, the screenplay came into being while we were actually shooting. And I didn't have such a clear idea of how this character should end up being, but thinking about what we said before, the way in which she was losing so much weight, that changed my attitude towards her as well. I was quite worried at one point. And the character developed as I acted it. Maybe I can say something about it with hindsight, but I'm actually still thinking it over. I don't know if that's enough by way of an answer. Something else I wanted to mention as well. I was trying to focus on what I thought was the content of the story that was emerging, and I think it is a love story, in a way. So there you are.
At least the first half of the film.
I think you said something about this in an interview as well, this idea of abandonment. You mentioned that, didn't you?
Matteo, it seems to me that this is less it's certainly a love story in the first half, but doesn't it develop into a story of obsession, possession, and even humiliation of the actress, of Sonia, during the course of the film? The second half of the film seems to take a completely, I mean, it's the way it develops all to the very end, but it's completely different from the love story that we find at the beginning of the film. Yes?
Yes, no, it is correct, but it's because she was changing during the making of the film. So she was changing as Sonia, but she was changing also as Michela in a way. Correct, because she was, it was her body who was changing.
Sì, poi la storia d'amore cambia anche secondo me perché
And I think the love story
cambiano
changes
anche
as
le
well,
dinamiche tra loro due, nel
because the
senso
dynamic between the two of them changes as well. If unconsciously two people conclude a pact, spoken or unspoken, I think that she was looking in him for a sort of parent figure, and he was also looking for something in her, perhaps a child. So there's this soulmate level as well, and I felt that during the film the relationship between them moves in a different direction because she feels a little abandoned as well. She feels that the parent figure is no longer there for her. She stops eating. And if you stop eating, you need something else, and if you don't get that something else, then you're in trouble. And it might be that as well, partly. Matteo's giving me a strange look. It's interesting, all these different interpretations. I mean, any interpretation always limits your view of something, but she lived through it, so.
Another question here, please, if we have a microphone. No, wait for the microphone, please.
Ich habe zwei Fragen an die Hauptdarstellerin und
two questions for the actress. First question is, how much do you weigh now? And if you look at that scale of 50 kilos that you looked at, where would be your ideal weight? Because it seems to me, first of all, the topic of weight and eating is a key topic for women throughout their lives. And so I think it's an important issue. Looking at you now, I think that really it's fair to say that you've said a lot about eating food. You've addressed this. So as I said, the question was, what's your weight now and what would be your ideal weight? Well, I think that what you were getting at, my ideal weight, would be the weight that I have now, 52 kilos more or less. I went from 60 kilos to 45 while we were shooting, and when I got to around 53, 52, I thought, yes, not bad. I thought I looked pretty. I felt that I was light enough to be able to deal with things. And I returned to that weight with no trouble, 52, 53. And I'm afraid I'm not managing to put on any more weight than that, despite eating quite a lot. And of course, if you cut eating out of your life, that cuts out something very important.
Do we have any other questions? There is one right in the center here.
Benjamin Kahn nochmal. Ich habe noch eine Frage zu
I have another question about the metaphor of the goldsmith melting down the gold and pouring it into a mold, just as he does